Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you're want to support the people that made this game and or get the newest version of other games earlier, then you can go to Patreon, $3 a month. So, on the last Let's Play, we were out back in the motel to go take a pee because TJ was still in the shower, at which point we came across a sleepwalking bat. That being Micah? Yeah. And we kind of talked about things, but then it came to the topic of Carl. And they said no, they didn't sell him the meth. The meth, yes. But Carl got freaked out when he saw Mike outside, who was, scoping out the place because, other reasons. And Carl ran out into the wilderness. Also, hey, the bear, whose name is, I can't remember, but, the really bad guy from the previous route, might have something to do with it because the guy that went missing was hanging out with him and then disappeared. So yeah, also it's a new day. So let's reset my face and begin. I'm a great swimmer, I swear it. A young woman's voice. It's distant, but near. Like a video with the volume nearly all the way down. I strain myself to listen more closely, and the spoken words start to come into focus. Are those things over there, are they shadow creatures or what? That's doubtful. You're a yote, after all. A man's voice, also barely audible. I'm inside the cabin of a large vehicle. It's rickety, and I have to hold on to something to keep from shaking all over the place. I can see two people in the front now, their silhouettes pronounced, but I can't make out their faces. It's like they're distorted, water droplets on fresh ink. The one in the passenger seat is a woman, a coyote. She has lots of jewelry. Not that I can see it, but it jingles around whenever she moves. That reminds me of my mom. The man on the left, who's driving, is an otter. He's wearing a hunting cap that's too small for his noggin. Whenever he turns his head, I catch a glimpse of him in the mirror, his face blurred. The only parts that's distinguishable are his eyes, like shining blue headlights in the dark. I think I'm seeing things from his point of view, even though he's not really me. The cabin behind the two front seats is roomy, like a van. What are they talking about? In fact, it feels like there are more people behind me, but I can't even look over my shoulder. I'm stuck, shaking around in between the front seat and somewhere in the back, near the rear cabin doors. Yeah, and you're a dirty species of dove? Yeah, and you're a dirty species of stove. What is dove? It's not capitalized, so that doesn't seem like a name. The times are changing, and you best get with 'em. Else, I might need to find myself more sophisticated company. You hear? The woman responds. This is also familiar for some reason. Deja vu. Jan, you read dirty novels and eat fast food like a hog. I've heard of Meseta witch doctors who are more worldly and sophisticated than you. He grunts, laughing a little at his joke. Oh, please, darling. Reading a little novella with the word penis in it ain't gonna damn me straight to hell. Second, I got my own income now. You know, a job? You might hear of one someday. I can use the money I make from said job to buy whatever I want that makes me feel special. Sometimes, That's a little romance book in at the drugstore, and sometimes it's a large vanilla milkshake with extra cherries. Third and final, I don't think the Meseta have witch doctors. They got shamans. I met one once. He was a very nice old man, about 4 feet tall too, pocket-sized. The woman sounds rather pleased with herself for countering all the man's comments. The man lets out a dismissive noise. You met one, eh? What'd he do? Sell you a love potion? Another chitter of laughter from his own joke. I don't know, hun. You tell me. You reckon it's working? Her tone is flirty, and I can practically feel them both smiling. I'm about. I'm outside now, my head spinning. I'm walking, but it's not my body that's moving. It's someone else's. Their movements are slow and deliberate. A stab pain when the body's left leg moves too high, or the joints rotate at the knees. The fur on their arms is ice white, and the muzzle's feline. Some sort of big albino cats, trudging one foot after the other, beside the highway, caught up in a strange daze. Sepia? Tinted. That's a weird sound. Memories fill our heads of places that look straight out of a southwestern adventure's frontier quarter. These reconciliations are his existence. His? Huh. And the physical reality in front of him, fading dream. Something that causes pain to traverse. The road is not his home anymore, as much as it hurts him to think that. One of his feet steps upon the pavement, then the other, crossing the lanes to walk directly down the little yellow line down the center. The people he loved are all dead, but he doesn't want to join them. He just wants them back. As his own senses fail him, the memories in his head keep getting more and more real. They're there in his mind. He can see the stitching of their clothing, the smell of their fur, the chuckle in their voice, the touch of their paws, the taste of their lips. It's such a sad way to be. I'm back in the van. The otter and the coyote are trading glances at each other now. The more personality of the otter seems tempted by the coyote, like he's trying not to take himself too seriously around her. The radio is playing something now. Something that was there before, but I couldn't quite make it out. It's not music, just voices. Drawn out, distorted, and mostly unintelligible. I catch something that sounds like nervous laughter from a high-pitched voice. Then, a more baritone one responds with something reassuring. It's okay. At least, that's what I think it says. Finally, a squelching noise, like squishing soft putty between your paws. The feeling that something is behind me in the van grows. I've been here before. I know I have. But when? No matter what I do, I can't turn around. Even the rearview mirror reflects a distorted image. I can just barely make out something back there, undulating in constant, restless motion, strobing between pulsating flashes of light, faint red light. There's applause, like someone's clapping. The handles of the rear cabin doors seem to shudder and click, like someone is trying to open them from the outside. But that's impossible. That's possible we're moving? It's weird when they do some question marks sometimes and like, okay, how to read this? That's impossible? We're moving? Oh. It feels like I'm yanked back out onto the road again. The old man walking down the center lane. The memories in his head grow more perspicuous as he walks. It's as if it's building toward some great zenith, or point of total clarity. So are those two people going to hit this guy? I'm not sure how I know this. There's a rumbling of an engine coming up from behind, puttering rhythmic fashion. Again, I can't turn to face it, but I know it's there. And it's getting closer. The engine roars. It's coming up right behind me. This is nuts. Fuck. What the fuck am I doing? It's the high-pitched voice from the radio. I can hear it now, clearer than ever before. You're doing great, Chula. The baritone voice. What, that was Leo? The albino, older man stops, turning as if he heard this too. Heavy breaths escape my throat and splay forth, fogging up the windshield. The two lovers exchange a kiss, eyes lulled. There are lovers in the back as well, fumbling with themselves in that same red light. That same red light that bathes the entire sky. The cabin doors fling open, and I can finally see the person who's been trying to get in from the outside. A Ren'Py-looking, amber-eyed otter that stands there wearing an oversized blue t-shirt and khaki shorts. It's me. I'm younger. I don't have the goatee. Somehow, I'm just floating behind the moving vehicle, as if we're standing still. The color in younger me's eyes start to fade, before shifting to an icier blue. He shrinks, and soon the figure standing there is a little boy in his swimming trunks. Him. What does he want? Another shift, and he springs about up with distorted, jolty movements. The transition is nowhere near as smooth as the first. The otter in his hunting cap, far too tight for his head. Those same blue piercing eyes piercing right through me. Bronson, Mr. Bronson, Sydney's father. Is Mr. Bronson also the one driving the van we're in? I see no reaction from the blurry figure in the driver's seat, still more occupied with the coyote next to him. He's only there for a second before his face practically tears away in jagged artificing. Mr. Bronson twists in on himself, expression uncaring, as it falls apart and fades into ragged white fur. The elderly albino on the road. It's him. At least, I think it is. His silhouette is more abstracted. The detail of his features somehow darker. His form floats there for some time. I keep waiting for it to shift, but it doesn't. Instead, it turns its head directly at me with stark red eyes. They widen, still peering, and I try to step back, but I can't move. Like fluorescent bulbs, they begin to illuminate, blinding me as they grow closer and closer. I hold up my paw just as the old man's mouth opens, about to speak. What? Fuck. Janice, you okay? Bronson, what did you hit? I was thinking it could have been Janice. Bronson, don't just sit there. You answer me right now. I don't know. Jesus, sweet Mary Christ. Mr. Bronson is despondent, while Janice is starting to get frantic. Everything's dark, but I can see a slight red splatter on the center of the windshield. A large chunk of fur is caught in the wiper. Mr. Bronson steps out of his vehicle, his blurry form flickering into something a little more focused. His clothes are loose hanging, jeans, belt bottoms, very 60s. I can see the whiskers on his face, like they're my own. His heart is practically beating out of his chest, his fur damp with cold sweat. The fear is electric, buzzing hum, which permeates the landscape. Are they hearing it too? I decide to move with them, seeing from his point of view. Mr. Bronson covers his face, paws trembling. He can't see anything in this darkness. The otter nearly leaps out of his fur, startled by the voice. Its weak, desperate cry, a gurgling of pain, following it immediately after. Mr. Bronson runs to the source of the pathetic sound. Jan is getting out of the van as well. She clutches her bag to her side, her high heels clacking against the asphalt. Bronson, oh my God! I see it. I see him. The albino feline is wedged between the fender shirt and the wheel itself, a space about a foot wide. I can't say I look at many crashes, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. He's practically folded into it, leg snapped upward and jutting out to the side. Wild red eyes dart from Mr. Bronson to Janice and back again. I can't tell if he's pleading for help or asking why. All I know is that he's in excruciating pain, beyond the capacity for tears, just instant shock. Images flash before his eyes, and now he's not looking at anyone at all. He's devoid of movement beyond the rapid heaving in his chest. Jesus! She screams. His shoulder's caught under the tire. And he's bleeding. Oh God, Bronson, we gotta do something. I know we gotta do something. He shouts back at her, eyes nearly popping out of his head. Jack. Janice gasps as the old man begins to speak again. The look of realization crosses her no longer blurry face, and she points towards the back of the van. Get the jack! Mr. Bronson blinks, then quickly rushes to the back to get his toolkit, flinging the doors open. In place of obscure levers are a mold of tarantulas burrowing into each other as if trying to hide from newly opened doors. Some are blondies, while others are the more standard rust and black color. He does not seem to notice or care about these creatures, which flee from his presence, instead diving into the little olive toolbox. I try to step away, but I'm stuck seeing through his eyes now. He flings his tools around, hammers, wrenches, a rebar clattering to the side. No jack. Mr. Bronson stares motionless until Janice's shrieking voice breaks the silence. What is taking you so long? Get him out of there, Bronson. The otter exhales shakily, then makes his way back to Janice, giving her a blank look. Help me lift. What? I said, help me lift. You are kidding me. You don't have a jack? Shut up and help. Mr. Bronson slips his paws under the side of the van next to the wheel, squeezing his palms against the chrome. Janice quickly does the same on the other side of the wheel. On 3, lift. Mr. Old Man, we're gonna get you out of there in no time. You just gotta slide free once it goes up, okay? She tries to put on a reassuring voice, but the albino just stares past her with those intense red eyes. 1. Bronson, I don't know if I can do this. 2. She shakes, tears begin to swell within her eyes. Oh God. 3. The van creaks, as it begins to rise up off the ground, at least on this corner. Jenna screams at her own exertions, muscles spasming as her arms shake. I can't! The old man begins sliding his broken legs down the side of the wheel, one of his free paws grabbing the side of the fender skirt. Low moans escape from the inside of his chest, whimpers of unimaginable pain and shocked as his crushed bones realign themselves inside him. He makes it most of the way out, and out by the time Janice's arms give out, the van instantly lowering back down a couple of inches. I'm sorry. Fuck. Mr. Bronson spreads his legs wide, his muscles quivering as he tries to hold up the whole van by himself. Go, go! Get out of there! He screams down at the albino, his blue eyes meet the albino as the old feline begins to nudge himself out from under the wheel. No! The otter howls as the van continues to lower despite his best efforts. The old man feels it touch the side of his muzzle. His breathing quickens, arms reaching for something, anything to help him. Then, some gentle pressure. His eyes are bleary and moist now, like a lost child's. Then more pressure. And then... Janice screams. She screams and screams until her vocal cords fray like old yarn. Time passes. The body of the old man is dragged into a large, open hole on the side of the road. Mr. Bronson's paws are bloodied, nails chipped from digging without a shovel. Janice refused to help. She's been sitting in the van quietly for the past half hour, crying to herself. She can't stop shaking. He buries the body in a small ditch, trying to not look at his half-crushed face. It seems to stare at him, asking for help from beyond the grave. He could have helped, but he wasn't strong enough. Maybe this is what he wanted, after all, to die? Why else would he have been walking straight towards them in the middle of the road? He had plenty of time to move out of the way, but he didn't. It was like he didn't realize the shock of what he had done until he was tangled in the wheel skirt of the van. His bones jutting from his skin and blood dripping from his overalls. Once he's completely covered, Mr. Bronson peers back at the van. The splatter from the impact is still visible. He places a small stone to mark the grave of the unknown man before heading back and getting into the driver's seat. Janice says nothing to him, and for that he's thankful. Mr. Bronson drives off the road into a small valley, a short ways away. He parks in between some bushes and collects his things, trying to ignore the new throbbing pain in his head. Together, they silently exit the van and begin their slow walk back to Echo. A lone figure watches them from atop a hill, an impossibly tall silhouette with lanky arms that hang past its knees. We're together now. Well, that was intense. My eyes flutter open, and I'm greeted by sunlight pouring through the curtains. At first, I'm a little confused until I realize I'm not in the same bed I've been in the rest of the trip. It takes me a minute to get control of my limbs again, and when I turn my head to the side, I see Jenna sound asleep beside me. The way the sunrise is shining through her blonde fur is just perfect. It's such a contrast to the dream of the night before, the details of which are already starting to fade, but some of the imagery remains. The van, the albino getting hit, the tarantulas in the back, the tall figure that was watching on the hill. It's to think about. I reach out a paw to gingerly stroke Jenna's shoulder. Seeing as TJ is out of the room, I scoop myself up behind her in optimal spooning position. Fortunately, thanks to the dream, I have awakened without morning wood for a change. The moment I touch her, though, she rolls around, nuzzling her muzzle into the nape of my neck. Her whiskers tickle at my chin, and I have to make a concerted effort not to start giggling. She must not be asleep, as I thought, because she makes a contented noise as I run my paw down to her hip. She takes hold of my paw in hers and leans forward to kiss me. Not open mouth or anything gross and morning breathy like that, but enough to make my heart flutter. Her eyes open a crack, and she smiles as she sees me looking back at her. Hey. I peck her on the nose and can hear her tail flap beneath the covers happily. You look beautiful. Truly? She inquires back, stretching her arms above her, yawning. So wait, how did we get into her bed with TJ here? Like, wouldn't TJ be like, hey, why are you sinning by going in that bed? But we might think we're still gay. Which, I mean, I guess. Might even make it more proper. Yeah. She squints at me for a moment. You have sleep crusties in your eyes. I blink. Oh, well, I just woke up. That's probably why. I open my eyes quickly. She lets out a little laugh. You sleep okay? I debate just saying yeah and leave it at that, but last night's dream felt so particularly bizarre. I'd feel wrong not to mention. I shrug. More weird dreams. I had one where I simultaneously got hit by and ran over somebody with a van. Like the perspectives switched back and forth. Oh, that's weird. At least it's not a reoccurring shadowy you dream. Oh, yeah, definitely. Seeing myself in the mirror is tough enough. I don't need to see that when I sleep. Chase, please. You're not that ugly. I frown. You have a wonderful way of making your reassurances simultaneously slight put-downs. Do I? Yes. I'm being nagged. Oh, shut up. I hate when guys do that. I'm just teasing you, Chase. Trying to rate someone's physical appearance has always been hard for me. Especially when they're covered in eye gunk. Bah. Oh, come on. I'm gonna wipe it on you. Her face crinkles into a look of repulsion. Gross. I pull her body close to mine, our chests pressed together. This softens her scowl a bit. You know, I keep dreaming. I keep dreaming about my grandmother. Really? Yes, it's strange. Especially the one from last night. She pauses. I wait, looking at her expectantly. I was younger, in my bedroom, back at my parents' place. Well, it didn't look like my bedroom, and everything was kind of hazy, but I could hear the old hall water heater in my corner. I was being read a story from one of those children's books with the golden spines. You know the ones, right? I nod. Oh yeah, wow. I hadn't thought about those in ages. My parents used to read them to me all the time when I was little. Couldn't fall asleep without them. Oh? I can't recall ever being read a story outside of school, so that's why it was a bit unusual. Who's reading you the story then? Hold on, I'll get to that in a second. The story was a fairly basic medieval fairy tale, with the king having been eaten by a dragon and a brave warrior venturing out to slay the beast. Despite it being a story, I was being told it was kind of like I was watching it happen for real, like on TV. The warrior travels a great distance to confront the dragon, but when they finally find him, they falter Because it's a sexy dragon that they want to have sex with. Instead of the dragon's lair, the warrior finds a baby dragon, whom the big one was trying to protect. The king had wanted the dragon instead, stating that they were all monstrous, uncaring devils. But at seeing the big dragon protect his young, the warrior knows that this is not the whole truth and spares the dragon. Noble guy. It wasn't a guy. In fact, I believe it was my grandmother. The one you told me about? Yes. How'd you know that? Jenna's brow furrows slightly as she thinks. I'm not sure exactly. At the time, it felt implicit, obvious. Like, who else would it be? So, warrior grandma doesn't kill the dragon, and then what happens? Her gaze shifts, as if searching for something fleeting. I don't think anything happened. It just sort of hard cut back to my bedroom. I could see the sun just starting to rise through the window, the sky still orangey and red. You know, like how it gets during a drought when lots of dust in the air. Hey, big breather. Despite all this, the room looked even darker. I couldn't see who was reading the story to me, just that they had big, red eyes. And then I woke up. That last part sounded familiar for some reason, but I'm having a difficult time remembering why. So I guess it was the albino cat? I don't know. Wow. Wait, wow? Jenna looks slightly embarrassed with herself, fussing over her head fur as she sits up some. Discussing dreams can be a great way to help discern internal stressors in one's life. If only I could remember my dreams. Her tone is slightly defensive. Sorry. Defensive, using words way too fancy for this early in the morning. The problem is, dreams are often deeply personal abstractions that... She stops frowning to herself some, and then glances at the clock on the nightstand. It's probably gonna be our turn to search duty here in a bit. The information we got from Micah is really helpful, if true. Here's hoping he pulls through with his investigating. Yeah, to be honest, I was kind of a lot happier and think that Carl just went on a bender and got lost somewhere. You still might have, judging by how you said Mike is describing him acting. Though, let's just be honest, this is the desert and he's been missing for, like, what, over 24 hours? Too bad it doesn't have the nice little day number that Sileo has. I know I suck the dick at that game so much, but that shit's really helpful. On the save file, here's the image, you know, the date, the usual stuff. Here's the day in the game. Here's your route. Here's the version. Version isn't as helpful, but it's still, you know, helpful. And, you know, just all the things of that game. It's so helpful doing that. Anyways, let's sort of just by how I can share you back. At least now we know the general direction to look. Right. I look at the nearly made bed on TJ's side of the room. Neatly. He had initially given us a bit of a strange look when I mentioned I was gonna bunk with Jen tonight. I can't tell if that's because he was curious about our relationship or offended that I wasn't sleeping with him. Look, TJ, if you wanted us to sleep with you, you shouldn't have pushed us away when we were trying to make out with you on your route. I clarified that he didn't snore just in case. Jenna's phone vibrates beside us as she lets out a little sigh, clearly comfortable and not wanting to move. If I had longer arms, I'd grab that for you. Oh, such a gentleman. Don't worry, you're plenty long, Chase. She winks at me before rolling over and grabbing her phone. I stare ahead with the biggest goddamn grin on my face. Big dick. Definitely one of the better ego boosts I received in recent years. Right up there with when the hipster barista girl at downtown cafe shop told me I had foreign rock star vibes. Whatever that means. She taps away at her phone for a moment before looking over at me. Gonna meet up with TJ down at the diner for breakfast. Some eggs and bacon sound amazing to me right now. Well, I could help you with your eggs, scrambling them, and fertilized. I'm usually not the sort of person that gets hungry as soon as they wake up, but that does sound pretty good. Yeah, some jam and toast too. Now you're talking. She gives my rump a little pat, and my heavy tail thumps against the mattress. I know you took one last night. No, we took one last. We should probably take a shower first. Gotta, get all the eye goop off me that so offends you. Oh? She cans her head in my direction, setting her phone back down. Thank you for being so considerate to those around you, Chase. We appreciate it, truly. I grunt idly and slide myself off the other side of the bed. I'll meet you down at the diner. Gonna walk down there this time. Reception's been kinda weird this morning, but I'll text TJ your order. Thank you. I give her a little thumbs up, and she smiles, leaning over the edge of the bed to begin rifling through her suitcase. I think since we're over time, that's a good time to call it, cause it's a scene change. Boop. No. I mean, it doesn't really matter how hard to do. But anyways, let's just check one thing. Like, how far are we in this? And which one is it? Pop? No. It's this one? There we go. So we're on the second to final day with Hoy. And we're on Friday. When did everything go in real bad? I guess we could check what happens on Saturday here. Can't remember what happens. Fast forward. No. Skip. So wait, the bad things haven't happened yet? Okay, guess bad things haven't happened yet. Yeah, because they're here. Yeah, so that's when we get... how do we... Oh, go to save, load, voiced, and then title. And that was what day? Saturday? Okay, so things don't go to shit that day. Yeah, I guess everything happened on one day for that one. So we still got one good day before things go absolutely shite. Metaphor. Trip, party, phone, lights, runway. Run away, not runway. And date. At some point I should probably do side plays for those. I keep on being like, hey, I should do side plays for a bunch of things. Kind of like how I did it for Route 64, but actually not read it out loud. Just do commentary. It makes it so much easier on me and like lets me just read. You know? Might even be able to listen to audio, but though actually that wouldn't be so good. Yeah, the end of this Let's Play. So comment, guys. I like comments, if you like, dislike, tips, or otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out other videos if you want to help my YouTube grow, and please remember spending your ammos to help preventing it grow. Let's see. The extra days for everyone else. It just doesn't average many days. And until next time, another Let's Play. Oh, if you want to play this game, it's available free on the channel, but if you want to support people that made this game, go to Patreon, where you can help them with other games. Are some of these, things not unlocked? For a second there I was listening to, thought it was, that part in the thing. Theme of a Lonely Wolf? Oh, huh. Okay, I was like, what time do you unlock these? But I guess, you know, I have to unlock these at some point in the thing. Oh, that's loneliness. Echo. Echo! No! Read. Daddy, take it all away. I don't remember this song. Anyways, I gotta go. Thanks, see ya.